Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. If you're new, hi, I'm Daniella Shama Rose. If you're a Christian single woman wondering, how can I be found by the man that God has for me? Then this video is for you. Today, I'll be sharing 5 steps to position yourself to be found by your future husband using examples from the Bible. So let's dive in. So before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more Christian dating advice and faith-based encouragement. Okay, so we are living in a day and age where the women chase men just as hard, if not harder, than the men chase women. Am I right? And in my humble opinion, the men are supposed to do the chasing and the pursuing as directed by God. I'll back this up by giving you the verse, Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. And I just want you to notice how it says, he who finds a wife, not she who finds a husband. So I wanted to research this biblically and take a look at married women in the Bible. What were they doing when they met their husbands? And this is where the 5 steps come from. Ruth and Boaz. Boaz found Ruth working hard in his field. She was gleaning. She was gathering sheaves. Fun. He inquired about her and learned that she had been working tirelessly all day, and that's Ruth 2:7. Impressed by her dedication, he offered her protection and told her to stay in his field. When Ruth asked why she had found favor with him, Boaz replied, "I've heard all about what you've done for your mother-in-law since your husband's death. Her selflessness, obedience, and service," I want you to take note of that, led to Boaz's admiration and eventually their future marriage. Esther and King Ahasuerus. Next, we have Esther, who was sent by her cousin Mordecai to the king's palace, and Mordecai was like a father to her. She then quickly won the favor of the king. Her obedience to Mordecai, just like Ruth to Naomi, led to immediate favor. The king provided her with special food and beauty treatments, meeting her needs right away. Much like how Boaz offered to Ruth protection, food, and water when he found her in his field. And that's Ruth 2:8-14. And if you're like, well, Daniella, he didn't go find her. Yes, he did. He sent out the petition for a new queen, and then God was able to orchestrate from that Esther to be put in front of him. And he took it from there, pursuing her. The ball was in his court to say yes or no, I want to see her again. And guess what? He did. Rebekah and Isaac. Last but not least, we have Rebekah's story, and that begins when Abraham sends his servant to find a wife for his son, Isaac, making it clear that the woman must be willing. Genesis 24:4-8. Abraham told his servant, "If the woman is unwilling to come back with you, you will be released from this oath." Genesis 24:4-8. I want you to take note of this too. Rebekah's future as Isaac's wife, depended entirely on her willingness. Rebekah was described as being beautiful and pure, and that's Genesis 24:16. She demonstrated her kindness by offering water at the well to both the servant and his camels as well. This act, along with her willingness to serve, was a sign from God. And this so moved the servant that he worshipped the Lord. Despite her family's hesitation, Rebekah confidently said, "I will go." Notice she was willing, and if she said no, she would have missed the blessing that God had for her. And upon meeting, they married and he loved her. Genesis 24:66-67. All beautiful love stories. I encourage you to go back and read them for yourself when you've got a little bit more time. But for now, let's take a look at the 5 steps to be found by your husband as orchestrated by these beautiful women. Each of these women showed willing obedience, listening to the advice of their mentors and God without hesitation. Even in difficult situations, they chose to trust and obey. For instance, Rebekah's blessing as Isaac's wife was tied to her willingness to go with Abraham's servant. As we talked about, right? When she was asked, she confidently said, "I will go." This act of faith demonstrated her trust in God's plan, even though she had to leave her family and go with some dude that she didn't even know. Each of these women demonstrated willingness and obedience to God's plan, and that opened doors for crazy blessings. And your journey being willing and obedient to God's guidance can lead to the fulfillment of His promises in your life, and this includes marriage. Many of these women had reputations that spoke for them before they even knew their future husbands. Boaz had already heard of Ruth's kindness and hard work, and Isaac heard of Rebekah's character through the servant's account. Even though these women weren't trying to promote themselves, their godly character was noticed and mentioned favorably. Focus on living a life that honors God and let your reputation reflect your faith, integrity, and humility. A godly reputation can often speak louder than words and open doors that you would never expect. In each of these stories, the women found instant favor with their future husbands. Boaz was immediately drawn to Ruth, offering her food, protection, and water after hearing about her hard work and loyalty. Esther won the favor of the king right away, receiving beauty treatments and special food. Beyond the favor of their future husbands, God's hand was evident in confirming these unions. Boaz recognized Ruth as a blessing. King Ahasuerus chose Esther among many women. And Rebekah's journey was divinely guided by God through Abraham's servant. When marriage is part of God's plan, He ensures His purpose is fulfilled by guiding and leading and confirming the relationship. Trust that God will provide both favor and direction in His perfect timing. Each of these women was found by their future husbands while focused on their God-given assignment. Ruth was diligently gleaning in the field to provide for her and Naomi. Rebekah was faithfully drawing water for her family at the well when Abraham's servant noticed her and saw her as the one chosen by God for Isaac. Esther followed the instructions of her cousin Mordecai and remained obedient while she was preparing to meet the king. These women were not seeking attention or trying to impress others. Instead, they were fully committed to their roles and responsibilities while trusting God's timing. Along with fulfilling their purpose, they also exemplified selfless service. Ruth dedicated herself to caring for her mother-in-law, while Rebekah graciously offered water to not only Abraham's servant, but his camels as well. Even Esther, in her position of favor, served her people by asking the king, petitioning him to save her people from destruction. By staying focused on their tasks and serving others, these women were rewarded with God-ordained relationships. An essential aspect of these women's journeys was their willingness to seek and listen to the guidance of their mentors. Ruth looked to her mother-in-law for advice and support, particularly when it came to her relationship with Boaz. Naomi's wisdom and encouragement helped Ruth to navigate her next steps with confidence. Esther relied on Mordecai, who not only guided her through the complexities of palace life, but also urged her to speak up for her people when the time was right. Her trust in Mordecai's counsel ultimately positioned her to save the Jewish nation. Now that's big. Rebekah also demonstrated the importance of counsel as she responded to the guidance of Abraham's servant. After showing kindness and hospitality, she was asked to leave her family and marry Isaac. She took the significant step with the support of her family, demonstrating her willingness to embrace her role in God's plan. Seeking counsel with humility and obedience can lead to blessings in our lives, especially with matters of the heart. So there you have it. 5 biblical steps for how you can be found by your future husband. And just like Esther, God is right now preparing you for something beautiful. See you in the next one. Blessings and love.